The opposition's initial stance was that the dolphin is not at all special in regards to its intelligence when compared to other species, and that there is no reason to grant it human-like rights because of the fact that other animals are slaughtered daily and the UN does nothing about it. My opponent said, quote, there are other equally intelligent animals that are being slaughtered daily, such as pigs, cows, and sheep, end quote, and he tried to invalidate my plan for that sole reason. However, where is the proof that suggests that cows, pigs, and sheep are equally as intelligent as dolphins or the other animals that deserve more rights? My cited research speaks about the higher intelligence of dolphins and possibly of other animals that deserve human-like rights, so it is inaccurate for the opposition to reject my proposition on the sole basis that animals are all of equal intelligence because they are not. The human race, the most intelligent kind of animal, is the best proof we have of that. So the only laughable thing here is the incoherence and weaknesses of the opposition's arguments of hypocrisy and of his counterplan. My opponent suggests that the actions of a few members of the United Nations represent the organization as a whole. Just because a few nations are involved in the acquisitions of some dolphins from the Taiji hunt, it does not mean that the United Nations is itself involved in the matter. The UN has 193 members, which is almost all of the countries in the world. Just a few out of 193 is not at all a part big enough to be a representative of the United Nations as a whole. Therefore, my opponent's disadvantage of laughable hypocrisy should be disregarded. And also, just because a few UN members are involved doesn't mean, like my opponent said, that the UN itself is creating the demand for dolphins from the hunt. And so the analogy where my opponent compared UN actions demanding the hunt to stop to a scenario where, quote, it's like telling a drug dealer to stop selling drugs to you when you are the one buying them, end quote, makes no sense at all and should also be disregarded along with the impact suggested. Unlike my opponent said about a lack of solvency in my proposition, the solvency of my proposal is proven by the fact that Japan has already agreed to follow UN words on the whaling matters from recent times, which suggests that they will comply to other UN demands. In fact, my opponent's own source, Al Jazeera, speaks of the Japanese actions regarding the whaling matter. Even though the Japanese found and want to find more loopholes to try and carry on whaling, they did officially agree to abide by the UN demands and have already done so, for example, when Tokyo said that it was calling off the 2014 whaling hunt after losing a case in the UN court in the Netherlands. So that part of the opposition's argument is invalidated and should also be disregarded. Furthermore, the justification to why Japan can't be trusted based on Japan's parliament supposedly passing a resolution urging the government to act against the International Whaling Commission is incoherent and also inaccurate. First, the Japanese parliament is the government, so why would it unanimously urge itself to do something and not just do it right away? But on top of that, the truth is that the opposition source proves his words are fixed to sound fitting. The article states that it was a parliamentary committee that voted on the matter and not Japan's parliament. So with that, yet another part of the opposition's argument should be disregarded. Finally, the alternative plan provided is incoherent and impossible to achieve. The UN does not makes laws. Instead, it develops policies that help resolve international conflict while sticking to its chartered purposes and principles. Therefore, specifically asking the UN to pass a bill which would then be a law just to ban its members from reporting dolphins is not something that can be done, and with that, the alternative plan should be disregarded. At this point, I have provided proper reasoning to reject and disregard the opposition's basis for rejecting my argument, and I proved the inconsistency of the counterplan by disproving the claimed disadvantages and the supposed solvency issues, and by bringing to light the deceitful nature of the opposition's words about Japanese government actions. And if that wasn't enough, I also showed how the alternative plan, which is of immense importance to a counterplan, is not even a viable option. So vote yes for the proposition, since the counterplan should be rejected entirely.